Morning. How y'all doing today? Well, my name's Tom, and well, I'm just a rambling Christian. If this is the first time you've been here, please stick around. We look at things a little different around here, and typically I like to ramble before I get started. So, you know, Christians, a religion built on a man, claims salvation through the death of a man. Now, if that were true, that a death of a man could save the entire planet, why hadn't this happened millions of years ago? And people go, well, you're only 6,000 years old. I don't know why. I don't know why Christians deny science. It says man was created in 6 days. It doesn't say everything else was. It says, and we speak of it in Genesis there, that the animals and stuff like that, they are the people that were already here. Noah got off the boat and met Melchizedek. That had already been there. So not everybody died in the flood. So the flood was not worldwide. If there were already people there when Noah and his family showed up. Uh, and I tell you, Noah was an ark of spirits, just the same as Moses' ark. The serpent, same serpent, Ragnarok. I know, man, right? Uh, Same one Thor fought. Uh, Same one in Greek and Roman mythology that surrounds the entire planet. The one called Apep in Egyptian mythology. Uh, we're told to verify all things. Now, this dude says he's been in charge since the day one. Day one. And he's a jealous God. Do you think that for 4,000 years, he just let people do whatever they wanted? All of a sudden, poof, man was, just like we are today, uh, created out of thin air, popped into existence. And on day one, when Adam was speaking with God, he didn't say, Greek, Roman, Christianity, Catholicism, none of this stuff. None of it was a religion. Not one bit. There was no religion when Adam and Eve and God were talking in the garden. None. Well, when Adam and God were talking. Eve doesn't have that communicator. But if we can just place it in reality and not a Harry Potter type situation, too many Christians think witchcraft is making stuff pop into existence from nothingness. Even alchemy claims to change products, not create them out of thin air. This is, man, I don't know how to get past that. The creating stuff out of thin air. It just doesn't work like that. You can't get nothing. You can't get something from nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can't get life from death, and you can't get, you just, when they're looking for a day, they're looking for a single day. It's not even 1,000-year day for them. Now, I say I've taught in church, but that was for about a year, maybe a year and a half. I doubt it. And I picked up some of their delusions about how it really is. They just believe that one day some dude on a horse is going to be riding through the clouds, standing up there, calling the dead, just hanging up in the clouds, sitting on his horse, hey, yo, you come on up here, you come on over here, and we'll be good with that. The horse is the flesh. No, the chariot is the flesh. The horse would be the spirit of the flesh. The rider would be the conscious thought, and what gives it life is the spirit of it all. But we don't break it down enough. There are so many people, and I say it, man, there are people who know the Bible word for word, but they don't understand it. You see, reading it and understanding it are two different things. We learn this in English and in school, for those of you who went to school, that there's a difference between just reading something and grasping, comprehending the material in front of you. This is why here, so many times, I like to take whole chapters, not just a single verse, and expand upon that. And whole authors. Because this has happened many times. And I've noticed within the callings of the prophets, it says, and the word of the Lord came. Now, Jesus is the word. And that's not for every prophet. When it says the word of the Lord came, and things like this. When it speaks of the word, it is Jesus. Jesus gives nothing but truth, 100% truth. He is in a position to which he divides the waters. That's a position named the serpent. And like I say, this serpent has been here for a long time. It is an agreement between us and the serpent to get back home. If he can keep you, he's got you forever. And this is coming down to the wire to where that decision has been made. There's three in you. I talk about that. Your father, the mother, and you. The father is the male spirit in which you're given. His whole heart and his whole soul. Now, when you are given that father, that conscious thought in the back of your mind, and then that mother lives in the heart, and she has truth. Call her Eve, okay? We discussed it in the first book of Adam and Eve, to where Eve tells Adam where he came from, okay? And she is also the woman who should not speak in church. She has truth. Church has zero truth, so they wouldn't listen anyway. You know what I'm saying? That's the woman, not the chick next to you. It's a spiritual battle, not a fleshly one. I mean, they say that, and yet they battle flesh all day, every day. When they can defeat that, I guess they'll move on. You can't defeat the God of this world. It's just not going to happen. And when you die, okay, that spirit of the mother leaves you. You haven't bonded with her in any way. You haven't listened to the laws. And that leaves two dudes, Adam and the father that you were sent, the spirit that you were given. No mother to facilitate. Now, if the father and the mother can become one, the flesh spirit becomes the son. And that is whom they hitch out on. You know what I'm saying? Paul tells you, I'm hoping to be included in the salvation of the saints. The saints are the flesh. True. They do whatever they want. This is their land. This is their world. They control it all here. And all that has a spirit over it. At this time, I would say that Zedekiah is the spirit over the Christians at this time. When Zedekiah tried to escape Nebuchadnezzar, they took a path between two walls. Now, these two walls is the narrow way. They took the path, and they were hunted down and captured by Nebuchadnezzar's army. This was their escape route being taken from them. That's the narrow way. Jeremiah 34, 35, I don't know, somewhere in there. But then there's also another narrow way spoken of in, I can't remember, maybe Ezekiel or something. But when they're escaping behind in a narrow passageway, that's the narrow way. Now, the narrow way, make straight our path. Now, I've got an app now that let me put these up at the same time, but I don't do it. They're only 30 minutes. Let me record 30 minutes. But you see how this path is crooked in here. It says make straight the path. Now, you notice at the Father's chamber, you can pull it up on my post. I do have a picture of that. The Father's chamber, now just above the Father's chamber, there's that little alcove up in there. Those are the ones that are destined to rule this land. You notice the Father's chamber right above that is the arrow pointing north. And the alcove has no exit. That is the forever that you'll be trapped in right there. Truly, it will be. Now, I know I'm rambling and I'm all over the place. I just can't help it. My mind has been racing for days. And I hadn't been able to do a video. Doctor got me on a new medicine. Oh my gosh, man. Gives me a headache. It's nitro all day. You know, I was having to take too many nitro, so they put me on a long-acting nitro. Man, is that headache. I wake up with a headache I can't hardly get rid of. But, so I hadn't been able to, I've been reading in the afternoon. But when we look at Scripture, first and foremost, we need to believe the words on the page. That's the only way they'll work, is if we believe them. It doesn't work when you say that's not what it means. Because why would God write something that isn't exactly what it means? Your soul's on the line here. Forever is on the table. An eternity away from the Father. And the Father's desire is to have you with him. So why would he write a lie, a mistake, a not what he meant? Why would Jesus say something he didn't mean? Your soul is on the line. Now, I speak of it. When I first came, when I first was called, well, when I first decided to actually pop open a Bible and read it for myself, I didn't know what to read. I truly did not know what to read. You know, it's like I said, I truly didn't know what to read. And you hear all these things, oh, don't start at the beginning, you can't read it chapter and verse front to back and all this kind of stuff. You have to jump around and read this and that, use a study guide and blah, 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 blah. Everybody had a way to read it that was different than everybody. Nobody could read it from beginning to end, uh, and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it was weird. People that professed a book didn't even know how to read it, didn't know how to approach it, or anything like this. They just listened to the dude up front, and his is scripted. It doesn't come from him. It comes from corporation, and then it's handed to him, and then he gives it to the people. Uh, it's like there's one dude that's holier than everybody else, trying to drag the dim lights along or something. I don't know. They don't, and if you don't have a college degree in devil worship, you can't be a preacher. And things like this. It's Paul said, I know when I leave that wolves will come in. He says, I know. And Paul is truth. Saul, Paul before he woke up. Paul, his name after his new name. Simon called Peter, new name. This well, his old name. So see, these are corrupt from the womb. I know in whom I call. Hey, Simon, you're now called Peter. Hey, and this is, I will call you by name. Now, like I said, I didn't know what to do. So I just popped. I just take a book. And this morning I don't know what we're going to read. Because I'm just going to pop this morning too, because this is what I've been doing. And I don't know what this is for me. And we're just going to pop this morning and read. That's all it takes. And no saving. You ain't got to save it for later and all that. Just enough to give you something to think about today. And I speak of that. The Lord only wants to give us what we need for today. When we seek more and keep going for that, we lose sight of the message because you forget. You haven't even meditated. By the time you get through reading, you forgot what you first read. If you forgot what you first read, then you've read too long. You know what I'm saying? You haven't, maybe it's just a couple lines. Sometimes it is, think of something for a couple of days, just a little bit. It's, we don't put a rush on it. It's all in God's time, and it takes time. So, like it says, make straight the path. Now, the only way to make straight the path is through the Father. And that's truth that straightens the path. Lies are the crooked path. It's hard to make it through there on the crooked path. And we discuss it. Demons are lies. Now, I've also discussed that it takes 365 demons to create one man. Now, man, made in their image, how many prophecies did Jesus fulfill when he came? And how many more has he still got to go? Is that like 365? I know it's over 300. And I know it's close at least 340. The different, aspects of that, different ways people counted, give them different numbers. But can we go with 365 lies to create one back door? Satan, one Satan. Wow. 365 lies to create one Satan. Wow. But anyway, like I said, we're just going to pop this morning, and I'm going to see what she says. was unsure on what I wanted to read today. And then I'm hoping to get into a little bit more of that, the teachings of the Savior. Now, you can see there's nothing in it and stuff, so we're just going to pop it open. And I got Isaiah 57 and 58. It's that 4 columns, one translation per column. Uh, and let's just see what it says. Now I like to use this one because it narrows it down even a little bit further. It says, "You journeyed to Molech with oil and multiplied your perfumes. You sent your envoys far off. You were wearied with the length of your way. But you did not say, 'It is hopeless.' You found new life for your new strength, and so you were not faint. Whom did you dread and fear, so that you lied? Whom did you dread and fear, so that you lied, and did not remember me?" Now we know that's not, did not give me a thought. Have I not held my peace even for a long time, and so you do not fear me? You know, that's what, the length of time in which you go through before you get what you would consider a miracle or something. Jesus was really clear when he says that without signs and wonders, they would not believe. You see, this is their God. They have to have the signs and the wonders. The Father, you come willingly, wholeheartedly, no requirements from him. He's saving you. What other requirement do you need? You know what I'm saying? You can't. Christians always want something. When they're praying for something. Uh, they're not praying just because everything's all good. They're praying because they want something. Their prayers are wants. But Jesus walks on the stage and they forget all about the dude who sent Jesus to die for them. That's what kills me. And we've covered it in the Old Testament. No Jesus required for your salvation. You've been forgiven long ago, way before he ever came. Well, not really, because he's been here the whole time. But, you're not the first generation through. You're the last. And what did Jesus say? The wicked, evil generation? That's you. The evil and wicked generation. Unless you call it a lie. It says, "I will raise you up in the last days." Nobody else. You. So, I will tell of your righteousness and your doings, but they will not help you. When you cry out, let your collection of idols deliver you. Ooh, man, all that stuff you got. The wind will carry them off. A breath will take them away. But he who takes refuge in me, not in Jesus, in me, shall possess the land. You hear that? And shall inherit my holy mountain. See that little alcove up there? That's where you're going to be. Right there. With his whole kingdom. You're going to own it all. Woohoo! Good for you. That's forever. Yeah, it won't be this one. It'll be a totally different one. But it'll be a new earth. And you'll be in charge. Forever. No rest for the wicked. People might see. Being telling people that they're going to run the whole world would appeal to quite a few of them. Oh man, I'm going to fix them. I'm going to fix them. Yeah, I can hear it now. Hold on. Now, I've said that. Each step that I've come to, I've been offered a seat at the throne, a seat at the table. Uh, but that's a trap too. Like I say, it, back in the day when I was managing and stuff like that, it was a blessing for the manager to have me as his assistant because I try to build him up. I try to make him look good so he'll move on so I can take my spot. I don't try to stab him in the back as some do to show all his faults in front of the supervisors. No, I try to make him look good and to where they'll move him to another store or perhaps me. Uh, but a good district manager knows that if you sucked before your assistant got there, then all of a sudden your numbers are good. That it wasn't the manager who did that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to stab anybody in the back. You just got to do a good job. Uh, and then that sorts out the weeds. If they sucked before you got there, then all of a sudden you're there and everything's cleaned up, running right. Even though it looks like the manager is doing it, it didn't come from there. I mean, I've been a district and an area supervisor too. So this is the way it is here. Is we're supposed to be making him look good, but we make him look bad by using Jesus' name as a weapon. If you don't have Jesus, you're all going to hell. And that's not what Scripture says. Hell doesn't even exist the way Christians perceive it. It's not in here in any way. The only fire people burn with is holy fire. He's trying to wake you up, but you're just getting drunk on it. And that's the only thing that puts that out is holy water. What swine drown in, okay? The waters of life is what this, they must be waters of death if they perished in it, not the waters of life. See, now it says, and it shall be said, build up, prepare the way, remove every obstruction from my people's way. That's my calling, to tear down, plant, build up, all that. That was my calling. But in Isaiah, this is all going on at the same time. Now it says, for thus says the high and lofty one. Lofty, well, I'd almost consider that self-righteousness, a lofty one. You know what I'm saying? But I just first time reading it through like this, we're just going to say, who inhabits eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place. I dwell in the high and holy place. The high and holy place. And also with him who is contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble, to revive the heart of the contrite. This is what he's looking for his kingdom. Humble, contrite. I would say filled, full. You're content right where you're at. You're not seeking that kingdom to rule. God did not want to give us a king. It says that. So I don't want to be the king that God didn't want to give us. Does that make sense? got to protect. That's flesh wanting to be king. A servant of the Lord, I'm happy being a servant. I just am. Like I say, a lot of responsibilities. And this dude doesn't get out till he's replaced. And I don't know how long since another dude's come along that can replace him. But see, this is where the 12 tribes. When Benjamin is born, Rachel dies. This dude right here. Because I won't take his spot. So he's going with him to the grave. I won't take his spot. Somebody else will get it, but it won't be one with the knowledge. Because if you have the knowledge, you ain't going to take that spot. You know what I'm saying? And it says, and I have made the breath of life. Because of the iniquity of his covetousness, I was angry. The breath of life, that new flesh you got. I smote him. I hid my face and was angry. But he went on backsliding in his way, in the way of his own heart. You see, when I tell you that, you got to circumcise that out. You got to hear the one that's whispering in there, not the one that's speaking loudly that everybody needs to go to hell. You need to listen to the one that tells you you need to love your brother as one of your own. I have seen his ways, but I will heal him. I will lead him and requite him with comfort, creating for his mourners the fruit of the lips. You see that? This is where I tell you that convictions is everything. With the fruit of his lips. Now, the fruit of the lips is everybody's going to hell but him. Now it says, peace, peace to the far and to the near, says the Lord. And you see this. He's even bringing up the bad dude, raising him back up. No hell. No hell. He's just giving him a new body. And it says, and I will heal him. But the wicked are like a tossing sea, for it cannot rest. And its waters toss up mire and dirt. There is no peace, says my God, for the wicked. That's when you get that. You shall possess his land. You will inherit his holy mountain. Do you really want that? Do you really want to do that? Let me take a look at this 58. Hold on just a second. Whoop. All right, let's look at this. Now I'm going to look at 58 here. Maybe this is first chapter, but I don't want to get too long. I really want to get this Gnostic over with. But it says here, this is Isaiah 58. We've covered this before, but I see a lot of things in it. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet. Declare to my people their transgressions. Now you notice how it says, declare to my people. It doesn't say declare it to the Gentiles, those who do not profess God, or anything like that. It says declare it to my people. Where do Christians ever think that they have the right to say anything to somebody who's not in church? They're not God's people. They're not called, sectioned off, bundled with the weeds. No, that's you. And yet, you want to slaughter them too. What, baby? What, baby girl? It's not about them. It's about fixing ourselves. The ones that are called by God, sectioned off, to be fixed. See, and it even goes so far as to says, to the house of Jacob their sins. Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as if they were a nation that did righteousness. Do you hear that? As if they were a nation that did righteousness. You can't tell Christians that the whole world is deceived. They'll tell you straight up, not me. I prayed for discernment. To delight and know my name, my ways, as if they were a nation that did righteousness, and did not forsake the ordinance of their God, the law of liberty, to preach the law of liberty to his people, not them, only to those called. And the law still stands. No sacrifice. If you break the law, the punishment is death. Period. You're relying strictly on the mercy of the Lord of hosts, not upon some dude. They ask me for righteous judgments. They ask for it. They delight to draw near to God. Why have we fasted, and thou seest it not? Why have we humbled ourselves, and thou takest no knowledge of it? Behold, in the day of your fast, you seek your own pleasure. This is true. This is true. Jesus in the Gnostics says that one can convict themselves through fasting and prayer. What are you fasting and praying for? Now, Jesus says fasting and praying, some sort of demons never leave without that. And that's the one in which you are. But you don't understand that fasting so you can seek whether or not to buy a new car, or just they don't even have, when they fast, it's just, they're just doing it because it's a regular, like, well, Wednesdays are fast for us at church. We all fast on Wednesdays, or we all fast on this day, or we do this, we do that. And I spoke of when I fasted, and I fast and pray, but I don't fast and pray for my own thing. I fast and pray so his understanding comes to me, my understanding. That's what I seek when I fast and pray, is understanding. But so many seek a material item. And before I took the Sabbath off at work, I fasted every Sabbath because I was working. Now I straight up had the conversation with my father that I know this doesn't cover not following your Sabbath, but cut me some slack. I'm working it up, and I did. I finally got in there and asked my job for the day off. But it's maybe I was fasting and praying just for the strength to go up and say to my boss, "Hey, I can't work this day." But what are you seeking when you're praying and when you're fasting? What are you seeking? I don't pray much. I don't. I have conversations with God a lot, but I don't pray for stuff. I don't at all. I talk things out with him, pretty much. I don't pray to God. If he's my father, then I should be able to just stand next to him man to man and ask him for his advice and seek guidance through his knowledge that I don't have. I say the Spirit has all knowledge of everybody who's ever came and everybody who's ever went. And you have that within you. The answer is right in here. So many don't seek that answer, though. They really don't. They seek it from an outside source. And that's relying on others for your joy, your happiness, your pains, and your sufferings. Uh, when you seek guidance from another and you become dependent on another's guidance, when really, truly, you're a man. Step up, be one. Accept responsibility for your actions. Uh, know that there are none righteous who have not committed sin. Uh, all sin is the way of the land. I mean, you can't get away from it. It's just going to happen. Uh, and all sins are the same. So even your little bitty petty sins are just as major as murder or whatever. So you can't look at it like, well, he's just doing this, and I'm just taking the pencils at work, and he's taking the whole box. It's the same thing. So, uh, it says, fasting like yours this day will not make your voice to be heard on high. Is such a fast that I choose, a day for a man to be humble himself. Is it to bow down his head like a rush, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? That's a question. Will you call this a fast, and a day acceptable to the Lord? Question. It's just like I said, man, when you pop, you get good info. Uh, and we're going to continue on. Typically, I just started at the first chapter, but I started at the top of the page. Now, this here says, now we had those questions. Will you call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? It says, is not this the fast that I choose? To loose the bonds of the wicked, loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the thongs of the yoke, to let the oppressed go free, and to break every yoke. Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and to bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover him, and not to hide yourself from your own flesh. See, this is Christians right there. Were they not supposed to share that bread? They hoard it all to themselves, do they not? They keep it away from everybody else. They block the altar to the Lord, just like Cain did in the first book of Adam and Eve. And I don't understand why those are taken out, because they're all right here. But it says to hide yourself from your own flesh. Christians wish to sacrifice the flesh. I can't believe that with all their wise men studying this thing 24/7, 365, and still believe that Jesus is their Savior. This dude, see, he gave you all that. He died for your sins so you could approach the law sin-free, something you could not do before. You are completely sin-free. The Ten Commandments are a spiritual law. It's a spiritual battle. You don't condemn people to hell. It's just that easy. You don't wish to be like anybody else. You are who you are. Accept it. Live with it. Enjoy it. And it says out here, then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healings shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you. Now, right here, then shall your light break forth like the dawn. This is the birth of you. And break forth like the dawn. When the sperm hits the egg, there's light. There's a flash of light right there for an instant. Okay? Just saying. and the glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he will say, Here I am. I tell you that. I was as a, as low as a person can go, still walking. And I heard those words come from my Father. I love you. So simple, but I can still hear him today. And he wants to say that to you, each and every one of you. It's not about standing on another's back. No, it's about standing up yourself. It's not about hiding behind somebody because you're afraid that you've done something wrong. It's okay. Everybody has. That is the whole land. Where does a God of sinners go and create a place for the sinners he calls? The land of Cain, the land of sinners. That you can do whatever you want, which is actually the requirement for the flesh, your God. The one that lets you in, okay? And I've discussed it where it's not the first sperm to the egg. No, the egg chooses the sperm. The Eve chooses the man. Just saying. So see, some are never allowed back in there. That spirit, that egg, you could call it a birth of a spirit. If you take away from the midst of you the yoke, the pointing of the finger, and speaking wickedness. Oh, you're going to hell. Oh, he's a smoker. Oh, she's got too much cleavage showing, and man, her dress needs to be at least 3 inches longer than that one. That's a Christian for you. And the biggest sin is coming out of their mouth, the judgment of another. What did it say over here? You will get, what does it say? I will lead them and requite him with comfort, creating for his mourners the fruit of his lips. Creating for the mourners the fruit of his lips. They'll be with you. They'll be in there with you. Don't think they won't. And it says, if you put yourself out for the hungry, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness. Now, the desire of the afflicted, addiction is the hardest spirit to defeat. It truly is. And Christians are addicted to Jesus. They need they need an AA meeting. Truly. They have become drunk on the wine and the words of Jesus. And the apostles are the wine. The bread is Jesus. The wine is the apostles. The strong drink. But where they all thought they had the power of judgment, now they could tell people when they're going to hell, when everything's happening. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good thing. All right, let's wrap this up. Let's see if we can wrap this up. It says, then shall your light rise in the darkness, and your gloom be as the noonday. Whew, sorry. My head pounding so hard makes me sick. But it goes out. I'm waiting on the aspirin to kick in. It still ain't. Oh, man. But it says, break forth like, and your gloom be as noonday. Now, noonday is the brightest part of the day. We're just using the definition, not 12 o'clock. It's the brightest part of the day. And that will be a bright part of the day if you can birth that spirit. Now, here, listen. It says, and the Lord will guide you continually. Is once you have the Father, you're not going to get lost again. You're the one who didn't go home. He knows exactly where you're at. You just need to find Him. Now it says, and satisfy your desire with good things, not more car loans, more all this, more things that matter, that nurture the spirit and the soul versus things that nurture the flesh and the ego. And it says, and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters fail not. And your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt, and you shall rise up the foundations of many generations. I tell you, I had the vision of many coming with me. Many coming with me. Couldn't see them all. And it says, you shall be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of the streets to dwell in. This is when the veil split. Okay? When the veil split, that made everybody the same. We're all the same here. Okay? Now, the place you're going is going to be a single veil, either single Cain or single Yahweh. The Seth goes in the center. There's no, he is his own. Now it says, if you turn back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day. And call the Sabbath a delight, and the holy day of the Lord honorable. If you honor it, not going your own ways, or seeking your own pleasure, or talking idly, then you shall take delight in the Lord. Man. And I will make you ride upon the heights of the earth. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob, your father. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Now, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Right here it says, not going your own way, seeking your own pleasure, or talking idly. Now, this is what I can't understand, is so many people profess Christ and profess God and the Father and eternity in hell or heaven or whatever, but they want to talk about the sports game. What's going on today on TV, what the Kardashians are doing, what these stupid people are doing, what Trump's doing, what Biden's doing, what all these people are doing means absolutely nothing. Nothing. The only thing that matters is getting out. And you think it's so easy. You think it's just, oh, Jesus, save me, take me away. This ain't a Calgon bath. Okay? Ain't nobody taking you away. You have to do it all yourself. Stand up, and the Lord will speak to you. That's what it says. May the Holy Spirit guide you. May God, the Father, the Creator of us all, protect your soul.